We have talked about Health City Cayman Islands. We told you it's one of the world's top destinations for medical tourism, especially for Americans since it is so close in the Caribbean. But in this episode, instead of just hearing from us, we're going to talk to someone from Health City Cayman Islands. Hi, everyone. John Daly here, along with Judd Anglin, and our guest today is Mary Jones. She is the director of the U.S. region for Health City Cayman Islands. Mary, welcome to the Healthcare Secrets Podcast.
Thanks, John. Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be with y'all today.
Well, it's great to have you. Now, Judd, all three of us, we've broken bread together, but you and Mary will go way back, so I'm going to let you jump in with the first couple of questions for listeners.
Thanks, John. Welcome to our show, Mary. It's a pleasure to have you here and talk to you again, as always. I know our readers, our listeners, are going to absolutely love hearing from you. So I want to know, most Americans have health insurance, like Medicare, Medicaid, VA. Why should someone that already has coverage consider traveling to Health City Cayman Islands for an elective surgical procedure?
You know, there really are a whole lot of reasons why folks travel, to seek medical care. I mean, did you know that the CDC estimates that there's anywhere from 750,000 to 1.8 million Americans that travel every year for health care? And this trend continues to grow. The main drivers really behind this is that people are seeking better quality, and we're talking quality outcomes as well as just their overall experience, affordability, and you touched on it. Even though, technically people are insured, we have found that many folks have such large copays and deductibles that it really still makes access to quality health care virtually impossible. You add to that I've heard statistics that most Americans have less than $400 in savings. I mean, it really forces many people to put off much needed treatment. And then finally, availability. Not all hospitals and not all doctors are created equal. Wait times can be ridiculous. Not all hospitals are capable of performing the scope of advanced services. So the good news is that Health City brings all of this together for our patients. And I just want to share with you just a couple of quick things. People look at different ways to compare hospitals. We look at things like infection rate. For us, it's less than 1%. Mm-hmm. Our mortality rate on elective procedures is 0. Our readmission rate on total joint procedures, it's also 0. I mean, these are just some of the reasons why we are a JCI accredited hospital. And then from a cost perspective, our procedures will cost anywhere from 1/3 to 1/4 the cost of having it done in the U.S. So you put all of that together, people are looking for a solution, and that's why they look to Health City.
Let me ask you this. How would you feel about sending a loved one to Health City for an open heart surgery?
This is one area I can truly speak from the heart. Because I've been through this. My mom had open heart surgery in the U.S., and, we were very lucky. We had a really good doctor. We had a good outcome. However, whether it was me or anyone in my family, I guarantee you there's no one else I would let touch us than Dr. Benoit. I would only come to Health City. The expertise of our cardiac staff is some of the best in the world. And you combine our excellent outcomes with the care that you get after surgery and just the overall support and comfort that's provided to our patients. I really wouldn't go anywhere else. I mean, our chief cardiac surgeon, Dr. Benoit, has performed surgery, for example, on a 10-month-old baby who was born with his heart outside of his chest. And he did the surgery to put his heart back in his chest and thus saving his life. So in the 5 years that we've been open, we have done over 300 cardiac surgeries on babies that would have otherwise lost their battle with healthcare. We also do a procedure called CCM, cardiac contractility modulation. And what I've been told is it only became available in the U.S. just last week. We've been doing it for years. Only about 30 to 40% of people who have heart failure are candidates for a pacemaker. So for the other 60 to 70%, the options are to go on something called an LVAD machine, get a heart transplant, or, nature will ultimately take its course. But we can implant a CCM device for that 60 to 70% of people who are suffering from heart failure. We've done so with great success, and it's like a one-day procedure. Very, minimally invasive and amazing outcomes.
Wow. That's fabulous. We are talking to Mary Jones with Health City Cayman Islands. This is the Healthcare Secrets Podcast. I'm John Daly with Judd Anglin. Mary, is there a place where people can go to find out more information? Like if they're listening to us right now and they just want to go, okay, what's she talking about there? Is there a site or is there any place you would recommend people to go to?
Well, I mean, certainly you can go to our website, healthcitycaymanislands.com. So there you can certainly gain a lot of information. Another site that I would look at would be the Joint Commission. So Joint Commission is an organization that evaluates hospitals in the U.S. Because so many folks from the U.S. travel, live outside the U.S., they realized that we're going to seek health care in places, internationally. So they developed Joint Commission International. We have our accreditation. We got it within 1 year of opening. We've been reaccredited just last year. So that's very much unheard of in the industry. And I think that's a really good area to go to understand how hospitals are being evaluated, why it's so important to have that accreditation, and what it means for us to have such strong results.
Absolutely. And Judd has actually given our audience that information too, so that's super. Talk about some of you talked about the heart procedures. Talk about some of the other core procedures at Health City Cayman Islands that are being offered.
Sure. We're a 200-bed tertiary care hospital, and we offer many specialties. These specialties include, obviously, cardiac. We do a lot of orthopedic. We have a lot of folks from the U.S. come down for orthopedic procedures, hips, knees, shoulders. We do neuro, cervical and spine, bariatric, many more. And when you think about the advancement of some of the things that we do, like, for example, we do awake brain surgery. We offer things like true cervical disc replacement, which is a much better option than fusion, right? Because your range of motion is much greater, your recovery is much faster. So what we are really focused on are providing those surgeries, those advanced surgeries, because we have the doctors and the expertise and the staff to provide that kind of treatment.
And just real quickly, is when somebody goes down there, I mean, they get picked up right at the airport. I mean, you guys take them through soup to nuts all the way through, so that it's not like they got to sit there, I got to go get an Uber or I got to do that. You guys take care of that.
Well, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I would much rather come here than, the thought of going to some large city in the U.S. and having to fend for myself would be pretty tough. Here, we actually meet you on the tarmac. So we meet you right there on the tarmac. We have a little sign waiting for you. We walk you through customs and immigration, put you in a Health City vehicle, bring you to the hospital, get you checked in. And we offer complete concierge care. So you've got a single point of contact before you ever leave home. We start building those relationships. And that way you've got that single point of contact not only for the patient, but also for the family. So whether you're coming for an appointment, a procedure, physical therapy, it doesn't matter. You always have that single point of contact that will walk you to your appointments, kind of oversee your treatment and care. We put you like in this little bubble, and then ultimately take you back to the airport and make sure you get home safely.
Well, let's talk about the facility, because you are expanding there. I mean, it's called Health City, and if it's not a city already, it's going to be a health city. Talk about what's going to happen over the next few years, even up to the next 15 years.
Sure. Well, and I think what's important to know is our founder and CEO is Dr. Devi Shetty. And Dr. Shetty is quite a well-known surgeon and visionary. And I don't know if y'all have had the opportunity to touch on this, but Dr. Shetty was Mother Teresa's friend and also her personal physician. And so from this relationship really came the real mission of Health City. So in December 2018, so just a few months ago, Dr. Shetty was here, and we opened our expanded intensive care unit. So we now have a medical ICU and a surgical ICU. And as he said, this is just the beginning and the best is yet to come. So he talked about how we truly have a very clear vision of exactly what we want Health City to become. And the goal is to build a center of excellence for the Western Hemisphere, where we do cutting edge work. Where doctors from other parts of the world come and learn. And we've had a number of doctors come to Health City to learn both techniques and procedures as well as operations. So our goal is to set a new benchmark in delivering world-class healthcare. He's also positioned us as a leader in the use of technology in medicine. He's big on disruption. So technology will disrupt everything that we do in healthcare. And we want to be one of the leaders in this area. And as a good example, all of our knee replacement surgeries today are done with robotic assist. So plans were announced in August of last year. We are going to be building a state-of-the-art comprehensive cancer treatment center. So within the next 15 years, plans are afoot. We plan to expand the facility to go from a 200-bed to a 2,000-bed institution. Really serving as the center of a campus. And we want to encompass both a medical school and nursing college. Obviously, there will be, accommodations for folks. Truly a place where folks can come for completely comprehensive medical care, throughout the world.
And the great thing is it creates other opportunities, especially for the Cayman Islands. Now, I mentioned in our last show that I really love the Cayman Islands. I said it's kind of like a modern-day version of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That's what it reminded me of. And my wife has said, not only do you have to take me there, but she goes, we've got to live there at some point. Talk about what it's like living there, because to me, having a medical facility like that, and then also the amazing opportunity of you bringing in a lot of commerce, I got to think it's a great place to live.
Well, it is. And it's funny. I think that we chose to live here, right? And I think that probably the list that we looked at to the criteria of what we wanted to evaluate of whether we wanted to come live here is pretty much the same as someone would use who's traveling for medical tourism, right? You want to make sure about the people and is it safe and what are the food like and things like that. And let me tell you, it is truly paradise. I mean, the Cayman Islands, we are a British overseas territory, a beautiful blend of, so you've got the British laws and customs, but there are such strong American ties and influence. I was teasing with someone earlier. I mean, you can get White Castles and Kraft cheese in the grocery store. You add to that the Caribbean charm, and it's all located just an hour from Miami. So I think it's really important to know that we're an English-speaking hospital and an English-speaking country, and the local people, they live by the motto of Cayman kind. And it truly is. You see it everywhere you go. It's just amazing, the generosity of the people and what a welcoming community it is. Grand Cayman is the safest island in the Caribbean. We are the 5th largest financial center in the world. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important to know. So from a government perspective and an economy perspective, we're really very stable. And we're also known as the culinary capital of the Caribbean. And I'm embarrassed to say I've definitely gained a few pounds since moving here. And on top of it, what makes it even worse is the hospital's cafe is managed by a very well-known fine dining restaurant here on the island called Blue Cilantro. And people will actually come there for lunch if they're on the East End because the food is just so good. So, and the weather, I mean, you just can't beat it. In the wintertime, it will get down to 75. And, I know. It's just so bad. And then in the summer, we might it'll be in the low 90s. What can I say? And the water, this is the part you'll hate. The water stays between 78 and 82 degrees year round. So
and it's crystal clear with great scuba diving on top of it.
It is. The diving is amazing. Well, 7 Mile Beach has been called one of, if not the best beach in the world. The diving is some of the absolute best in the world. And we've got a pretty famous dive site here called the Kitty Wake. And it's about 60 feet down. And let me tell you, if you want to dive it, that's awesome. But if you want to stay on the surface, there are days it is so clear that even though it's 60 feet down, it's absolutely crystal clear. You would think it was just like 5 feet below you. It's amazing. Just amazing.
Wow. Yeah, very enticing. No doubt about that. And just so you know, Mary, as we close up here, Judd said if I ever have to go for a procedure down there, he said you would definitely greet me with a bottle of wine.
Well, and that's the thing is we get wine from all over the world, or we might have to greet you with some of our local rum, which also is some of the finest in the world. So, we might have to introduce you to something new.
We can do that. We can come up with some drinks. That's for sure. All right.
We can,
Judd,
a little mudslide.
Judd, anything to add as far as what you would tell our audience as far as getting in touch with them?
They can certainly go to the website that Mary mentioned, but they can also contact me at medretreat.com. And if they want to go in, they go to, it says getting started in 3 easy steps. If they click on step number 3, they can fill out a brief application form and put in, how did you hear about us? Podcast on Health City. And I will reach out to them and answer any questions they have about it.
Super. Great. Mary, anything else to add that we can wrap this up with?
No, just absolutely. You are more than welcome. Really look forward to having folks come by. You know, we've had a number of folks that have come in on a cruise ship or be here on vacation. More than happy to have you come by the hospital and see it, because once you see it, you know, folks just know what a magical place not only Grand Cayman is, but what a lovely place the hospital is, and just such a different culture of care. So we would love to welcome you.
And the people there and the professionalism is just without bounds. So we would agree with that and give you the third-party endorsement of it. Mary, thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we'll be talking with you more.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, Mary.
Judd, we can say thanks to everybody, and thanks for listening in. Remember, this is the Healthcare Secrets Podcast. You can go to our website, which is at healthcaresecretspodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll talk to you next time.